Ever wonder why your government works the way it does? Don't just wonder, listen to Ready, Set, Gov, a new podcast from the Better Government Association that explains the biggest challenges facing Illinois today. Subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Alternative Fact Chicago, episode 43. We are back, and I feel like I just did all of this because you know what? We did just do all of this episode.
Oh my goodness. I told Bihan, as you probably can figure, we're going to get into Kanye West. Before we recorded the first time, I said I'm tired of talking about him, and now he's going to make me do this twice in one day.
So for all of you that do not know and trying to figure out what the hell we're talking about, we're a little flustered because we just did this entire episode, and now the entire episode is gone. It just didn't save. It didn't record. So the entire 43rd episode is no longer here. So we're back again and do some of it over again.
Yeah, but just some of it.
Yeah, just some. We're probably not going to do the whole one, but we were like, we can't leave the people, Alternative Fact Chicago fans, with nothing for the next week. So we gotta move on and just keep pushing on, right?
That's right. So here we go again, B. Let's talk about what happened last week. We had our live podcast at the Beat Kitchen in Chicago with amazing guests from the Dean Davis Show, Ken and DeMons. I wanted to shout out DeMons because we talked about the draft, and he predicted not only the Bears' first-round pick, but also Indianapolis' first-round pick. As I was at home watching the draft, I was shocked. I said, hold on. There was video of our segment, so I said, I think that's what DeMons said. Went back and looked. Sure enough, it was. So big ups to him. We had a great night, an awesome audience, and after us, the girls from Talk of Shame did an incredible job with their show. So I had an awesome time. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought our live podcast was great. I love doing live podcasts. They're a lot of fun. If you've never been to one, make sure you do it. Shouts out to the Chicago Podcast Festival for giving us the opportunity once again. It's always a great event. They always have a lot of people out there to support us, and we like to get real-time feedback and just have fans be a part of the show. So that was awesome. I think next time we're going to add a fan and question answer segment because there were times fans had their hands up for questions and we just ignored them. But I think it'll be good to add that element to it as well, too. So we love doing live shows. We'll definitely have more coming up soon. We want to have another one planned for the summer. So shouts out D and Davis. They have amazing chemistry. Check out the Flip podcast. They're also on Chicago Sportsland Radio. We're hoping to get back on their show here very soon as well. And make sure you check out the Talk of Shame podcast. Those guys are amazing. Those girls, the ladies are amazing. They have a great show. They're funny, down to earth. You'll just love what they have to say. But yeah, once again, if you've never been to a live show, please do so. And we thank you all for coming out to check us out at the Beat Kitchen.
It was a great time.
Also, let's plug some of our social media early. I know we always do it at the end of the episode, but we said, why not do it at the beginning? So make sure you find us on Twitter. That's at AFAC Chicago to all of our new fans. Our Instagram as well as Facebook is Alternative Fact Chicago as well. We're always looking for new sponsors, so you can always check us out at alternativefactchicago@gmail.com. New show ideas, people to partner up with. Always make sure to email us, and we will always get back to you as well. My Twitter is Behan1984, and what is your social media, B?
My Twitter and Instagram are Starbright312.
Absolutely. Your kid name that you're going to work on, right?
I'm going to keep it forever.
Absolutely. And then quickly, before we get into our Kanye West topic, because we do have to talk about it, unfortunately, one more time, let's get into our fan of the week. And I know you love this fan of the week. I actually went to high school with this guy way back when, so I got a relationship with him, off and over the years. It's my homie Mike Lofton. You can check him out on Twitter at Raphael986. That's Rafael 986. Good dude. He always just gives constructive feedback on the episode, positive or negative. He always rocks with us. He likes our show, loves our feedback. So we always just like to give kudos to the fans. So Mike Lofton, you are our fan of the week. I know you rock with him too, right?
I love Mike Lofton, and I love him because I know he was a fan, obviously, someone a fan before I was on the show, but he has welcomed me and given me feedback as well. And so I appreciate you, Mike. You are also my fan of the week.
Let's talk about some Kanye West one more time. We actually had a good discussion, so hopefully we can give some of the cliff notes of what we talked about a little bit earlier.
Right, if we even remember what we said.
I kind of don't, but let's try it.
Let's try. We'll see how true we were if we say the same things. So two pieces to this conversation. First being about the interview he did with Charlemagne. The second being about the TMZ interview. I kind of thought it would be easier to keep things simple and streamlined if we kind of separated it and talked about one thing and the other. Does that sound good to you, Beeb? Yes, good. Okay, so first the interview with Charlemagne. He did, I believe it was April 18th, sat down with Charlemagne to talk about a couple things. I know you watched the whole interview, so you're going to be able to go ahead and give everyone your thoughts on the whole thing. I refuse to watch because I do not want to continue to feed into the Kanye machine, which he is watching the
So
click views and the retweets.
I think the interview the first time with Charlemagne was more enlightening than what he's been doing in the past like week or so. I don't know if he shouldn't even said anything after the Charlemagne interview. He just should have let it ride. But what he did and where he went wrong, he got to the point to where he felt that, oh my God, these people are really listening to me. They're taking whatever I say, not with a grain of salt, and they're actually listening to it. So right now they're just consuming it and putting it out. So now it's just gotten worse, and now it's really backfired. Some of the big takeaways I took from his Kanye West and Charlemagne interview with the fact that he is very into his own feelings. He definitely thinks at this point that he's like the modern day Michael Jordan, Martin Luther King, Michael Jackson. He's like the greatest thing since sliced bread of the 2018 version. Like he really thinks he's like the modern day Jesus. And I think he truly believes that, which is crazy. Another take was the fact that he seems to be in his feelings a lot with the Obama situation, with the Jay-Z situation. And it seems like no matter how they feel, that he just does have feelings, and he gets in his own feelings, and he thinks people should treat him a certain way. He's going to feel a way about certain things, to where I think he just doesn't have a real sense of reality of what's going on. It just seems that Kanye West doesn't have like true people in his circle outside, since when his mother died. I don't really think the Kardashian family really has his back right now, because in a time like this, you think they would just say, here, shut up. Like, where's his wife to say, here, just stop talking? And it's just not happening. To where now, I think he's just really, really running his mouth. And I think now with the TMZ interview, he really finally put his foot in his mouth, which we'll talk about in a second. But what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, a couple of the highlights that I read, as I said, because I refused to watch it, I did read about some of the things he was saying, talking about that he wanted an apology from Barack Obama for calling him a jackass in 2009. That is 9 years ago. And this man is still holding on, waiting for an apology. To me, that's problematic. Also, he believes that he doesn't get airplay, and everything changed with the radio after his issue with Taylor Swift. And again, for a man who wants to encourage free thinking and taking ownership and making things for yourself, and these are all the things he's pushing, he sure is blaming Taylor Swift or the radio or whoever for his relationship with radio changing. So I think that that's an interesting contradiction from him in regards to those things. So I know he was trying to kind of put what he's saying out there. I don't know if people will listen. I don't know if he believes what he's saying. I don't care if he believes what he's saying, because regardless of if it's truly his heart or not, it's problematic. He seems like he is just going off the rails. And honestly, there should be people who are a little bit concerned for him because his behavior is erratic. So that's how I think about that.
In regards to, and I know if you want to switch gears to his TMZ interview and, the rebuttal from, what's his name? I don't remember his name right now. The guy who actually did the rebuttal, the TMZ editor, he actually nailed it, with his feedback. This is where I think Kanye West officially went off the rails and really put his foot in his mouth. I'm all for his notion of, free thinker, trying to change the norm and things like that. And when he said, the fake Harriet Tubman quote about, I freed 1,000 slaves, I'll free 1,000 more. He basically feels like, people are entrapped in their minds. He's trying to break them and to break the mode. And where he really supported Donald Trump or likes Donald Trump, he doesn't like Donald Trump himself and his ideas. He likes the thought of Donald Trump, the fact that he was able to win the presidency when no one ever thought that he would. So I think the people that break the norms are people that he supports, and that's where he wants people to get out of their warped mind, be successful on their own, get to the top of your company, whether you're white, black, Indian, doesn't matter. You can be that person to get there, as opposed to when it doesn't happen, blaming people for why these things don't happen. That I'm cool with. That I support Kanye on. Where he really went wrong and really put his foot in his mouth, to where I think he's lost me, to where I can't support it, is when he talked about the 400 years of slavery and that it was a choice. I think he needs to be very careful of this, with the fact that when you're dealing with a crooked cop, you're a young black kid and you got a cell phone in your hand and you get shot by that cop, you didn't have a choice to get shot by that cop. And you may have some opportunities that you may have, Kanye West, these same kids in these inner cities may not have those same opportunities, and they may be entrapped for the environment that they in, to where, yeah, you may say you can just go do whatever you want, be whatever you want to be. You have to be mindful of the fact that you don't have that same power. And the TMC guy, and it's unfortunate that I don't have his name right in front of me right now, that's what he was trying to say. He's like, you may have those opportunities, other people don't. And what's happening is the right-wing voters, the right-wing, politicians, they're using this against him now. So it's a very dangerous rhetoric. So where right now I think I can't even support it. I like his free thinking mind, but overall I think right now the old Kanye is gone. That day is gone, and this new Kanye person, I think he's just so far in the clouds. I think he really just needs some true help. Someone not to say, here, stop, but it's just not working right now.
I think that the comment to TMZ about the 400, if slavery lasts 100 years, that sounds like a choice to him, was a line that I certainly hope a lot of people can't get past. I said when we first recorded, and I don't know the right way to say it, as a white woman, I know that I need to tread lightly talking about the impact of slavery on a community, because it's not something that affected me or anyone in my family. But we are 153 years removed from slavery becoming in this country. So when he talks about these things, you're talking about people today whose great grandparents were slaves in this country. So to suggest that those people had a choice and chose to continue to be slaves in this country is not only problematic, it's disgusting, it's insensitive, and it's downright insane. And so I can't imagine anyone being able to support someone with such an ignorant point of view. Now, I understand where, Bihan, you always say, people are getting so upset about what he says. It's only Kanye. We're here for the music. But this is the same person who 2 weeks ago came out, was supposed to be the philosopher, which is why he was my clown.
Right.
That anyone would look for to philosophy. That was my point. It's fine if you support an artist as an artist. But he's crossed a line here. And the fact of the matter is he's giving out bad information, and there are people who follow him. And so he's choosing to just regurgitate information that people are feeding him. And earlier I had talked about where he screenshot a text message from who tried to tell him how it was actually Republicans who were the slaves. And so Republican ones who want Black people to be free, not Democrats. And a simple history lesson will tell you that the parties switched over time. So that's not true. So he's regurgitating information given to him by whoever. And he's not enlightened himself enough to know that it's untrue. He did tweet out the quote and credit it to Harriet Tubman. That was not true. And so the quote saying, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. It's a wonderful sentiment. It's smart. It's deep thinking. However, she never said that. So he attributed that quote to her to try to liken himself to her. But she never. So again, he's out here talking about free thinking, yet he's not thinking at all, because he's not doing any of the research to understand if the things he says are even true.
Yeah.
And that's concerning, and that's dangerous. So
that's where I think he needs to understand the problem of the people that he's affecting right now. He thinks he says these things to be free thinkers and to help change your mind of where you may be programmed to think. But like you said, he's not realizing that a lot of times people are affected by the words that he says because of the influence that he has. Where it was funny to me, to where I was like, these people are just really getting so worked over Kanye. I'm like, they're really worked up. Like, people are really like just pissed off. Like, they're just like done with this guy 100%. And my mindset was saying, hey, why are you letting someone of his caliber, who probably doesn't know you, probably doesn't care about you, probably never cared about you, why are you letting him affect you? But it's still a dangerous rhetoric overall. And I had this debate with someone, because now it's letting people like these right-wing Republicans and politicians who victimize those, who used to support Kanye West. Now Kanye is basically saying, not necessarily that these people are cool, but overall, like, he's using those guys. They're using them against each other. Like, they don't care about Kanye West. Kanye doesn't care about them, and they're using each other. It's a very dangerous rhetoric, and it's alienating an entire fan base that loved him for so long. And unfortunately, I think with the slave thing, he's really put his foot in his mouth now, to where I know T.I., I know Charlamagne, I know Ebro from Hot 97, they're trying to help this guy. But right now, I don't think it's fixable. he needs to shut up, just release some music, because I don't care about, what he thinks about people and slaves and things like that. He just needs to shut up right now, unfortunately.
I agree, and I hope this is the last that we have to talk about him.
Please let it, because we had a good discussion earlier, but I didn't want to talk about it again. So hopefully he doesn't do anything else until the album comes out next month, if it even comes out at this point. But he's just gonna keep going at this point.
And my hope is that those who are truly offended by the things that he's saying, not hurt feelings, but offended and disgusted by the things that he's saying, I hope that they will not support him by buying his music. And that if this was somehow some kind of marketing, if it started that way, I hope that they will throw it in his face that he crossed a line, and not all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I think he just needs some help. I think, he obviously has hit the sunken place and he claims he's out of it, but clearly he's not. Where's his wife, man? We need Kim Kardashian to go and save this guy. That they're like traveling right now. They're not even with them. So it makes it worse. But man, he just needs to stop, because he's really hurting his legacy right now.
I agree. And for somebody who really doesn't care about what anyone thinks, that was not the case when he got that liposuction. That's all I'm going to say about that.
That's another topic for another day.
That's another topic. So let's move on.
Before we get on a couple other topics here quickly, we should definitely mention our sponsorship with the Wrigley Report. We always have to mention that. So shouts out. And this sponsorship is sponsored by the Wrigley Report. Cubs fans, if you are looking for the latest Wrigley renovations, updates, team news, player analysis, and overall Cubs news, look no further than Wrigley Report, your number one source for all Chicago Cub news. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter on their handle at Wrigley Report. And shouts out as well to one of our other sponsors, Better Government Association. You hear them at the beginning of the episode. We're always looking for more sponsors, especially local to Chicago. So if you love to sponsor us, please email us at alternativefactchicago@gmail.com. And I don't really know necessarily where else we should go. I know we talked a little about the NFL draft roundup earlier that we lost as well too. Any highlights you want to give before we move on to that one, B? What else you want to talk about the draft?
For the draft, just a couple highlights I guess we can go into. For Bears fans, an awesome draft for the Bears, which has not always been the case. Roquan Smith out of Georgia, going to be an awesome linebacker. I think the only knocks on him being a little undersized, but I think that he's going to come in with the speed and the character and the emotional leadership that will make him a really good linebacker for the Bears. So that's awesome. We have to talk about my boy Baker Mayfield going number 1 overall. Shout out Cleveland Browns. I will be excited to see what they can do with him this season.
Sounds good. And for me, obviously I love my Detroit Lions. I actually think they did a pretty good draft. They, shored up their offensive line. I was shocked for them to get a center, but hey, I'm always cool with them getting more help from Matt Stafford. I'm cool with them getting Kerryon Johnson. We did need a running back as well too. Shouts out to the New England Patriots. Of course, they had to go out and draft another short 5'9" white wide receiver. But they did get Braxton Berrios out of Miami. He's a, sneaky quick wide receiver. And then obviously if you know the New England Patriots, they love short white receivers, and he'll fit right into the mold there too. So, and I even heard a rumor that they were saying that if New England, if that Baker Mayfield was not the number 1 pick, they were going to try to sneak up to the number 2 or number 3 pick to draft Baker Mayfield. And man, that would have been a shocker. But leave it to Cleveland, of course, of all teams, to go way left. They had the number 1 and number 4 pick. You know for sure they're going to get 2 surefire players. They went way left. I'm cool with them getting Baker Mayfield, but he was not the sexy pick. And then they went with cornerback Denzel Ward out of Ohio State, which if you get a cornerback that high in the draft, you're expecting him to be the next Deion Sanders. So should be interesting to see. But I think, they had a good draft. I think the Bears had a good draft too. And a couple of teams, even quietly, the Tampa Bay Bucks had a good draft outside of like the Baltimore Ravens and Carolina Panthers. So I'm excited for the NFL season to come.
Well, we're about to see the Broncos see what they can do, because they grabbed Chubb at number 5 and opposite Von Miller. I think he's going to be insane. That's going to be a really good defense. So we'll see if Case Keenum can keep his momentum going. He's the big question mark there. And they got that new receiver, Cortland Sutton. So that should be good. And the Giants drafting Saquon at number 2 is going to be huge. So if Eli can pull it together, they might have a run this year. We'll see what happens.
They should be better, but I think they're still a little ways away. But getting Saquon Barkley at number 2, I mean, could be an amazing player, and if he could be a legendary running back in New York if he pans out there. So he has to be in the number 2 pick, though.
Yeah, he's going to have to. Absolutely. It's unprecedented. Zeke was one of the first ones a couple years ago at number 4, and they thought that was crazy. So Saquon at 2 should be interesting to see what happens. I think he'll be good.
Were you okay with Michelle Wolf's comments at the White House Correspondents' Dinner? Did it bother you at all, or what?
No, I thought they were great. I thought she was hilarious. I didn't think anything she said was out of line. As we talked about, there was a couple of like abortion jokes that to me were just a little uncomfortable and not really funny. But I thought overall she was funny. I didn't think she told any lies. I know some people were upset thinking she crossed the line, but that's really the nature of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I didn't think that it was anything wrong. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I mean, you got to remember when you're dealing with a comedian, they're going to be there to make you laugh. They're going to say things to, and they're going to be a little bit offensive. That's just what they do. That's just 100% their job. I thought she had some good jokes. She made fun of both sides. She made fun of Democrats as well as Republicans. I thought she was lighthearted, and I'm actually going to check for her work. I'd never heard of her from before this, but now that she's out, obviously she's gonna gain a lot of popularity from it. And I think she took great jabs at both sides. It kept it lighthearted, and that's what she was supposed to do. And I like the fact that she came on and said that she doesn't have an agenda because Congress never has an agenda. It just like her little digs made a lot of sense, and I thought it was funny. So for those that are bothered by it, I don't think you have a good sense of humor. There's a lot of people on our Facebook, like turned off by her and this and that and the other. It didn't really bother me. I thought it was funny, and good for her, man. Do it somewhere else next time.
Well, and that's the thing, and I think that's the thing with humor is that there are some people who might be offended and some who might not, and it depends right where it hits, where it hurts you. But I thought that she represented well for the ladies.
Only thing in our Everything Chicago segment I think we should mention was the fact that our boy Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook CEO, he's sending $14 million to the Chicago public schools for personalized learning sessions. So there are about 120 schools in Chicago right now that have it. And with the money that they're going to donate, it'll help from grants and other programs too. It'll be another 100 plus schools affected. I like this because it gives one-on-one learning to more students. So obviously the old adage, the old school system, everyone sits in desks. You're dealing with a teacher with 25 to 30 students. They don't get that personalized learning feel, and everyone learns at the same pace. So, well, hey, this kid might be smarter than the other. This other kid may get left behind. With this personalized learning program, it makes things just more of a natural feel. They may be sitting on bean bags, on chairs, on the floor, things like that. And you're just going to get more of a one-on-one feel or a group setting to help these kids learn better. And that's just something we really need in the Chicago public schools. So I am glad that the money is getting funded. I think it's a great idea. And I hope, I'm not sure if other states do this, so teachers let us know. Do more states do personalized learning? And I think it's a great thing. And I'm glad that the city of Chicago and Chicago Public Schools is doing this.
I am too. I think it's exciting for them. I think that the focus on meeting kids where they are to help them learn is huge. To expect one teacher, as you said, with 25 to 30 students with 4 or more levels of proficiency in their class to try to teach them on their level to help them move forward is impossible. We ask teachers to do impossible tests every day. They don't have the resources they need. They don't have the support that they need. And so I think that anything we can do to help them help our kids is huge. So really excited that Mark Zuckerberg did this. It sounds like an awesome place for him to went ahead and give this donation or this grant to get a little more creative in the way that our kids learn. And all of that's really exciting. So hopefully we'll see improvements, and it'll encourage others to embrace this type of learning.
Absolutely. And I just recently attended my first Chicago Cubs game of the season, so I did want to touch on that briefly. Make sure you check out Wrigley area. It's not the same old adage of Wrigley of old where, just drunk young kids everywhere. I mean, they're definitely still there, so it's definitely still part of Wrigley. But just the area overall, obviously they had the ice skating rink during the winter. Now it's like a big lawn area to where if you have tickets, you can, basically watch the game from outside. There's more TVs outside. It's more of a family feel. There's a Smoke Daddy. There's a new Big Star. There's a new hotel over there. So if you haven't been to Wrigley area in Chicago in a while, it's just much better. It's a much improved area. They're building a big bowling alley. They're building a Lucky Strike there as well too. So it's definitely gotten a much better look to where you can tell that they really put a lot of money in the area and they're expecting the Cubs to be good for a long time. So if you have not checked out a Cubs game or Wrigley area this year, make sure you do so, Chicago people.
Yes, do it.
Have you been to one yet this year, or is that planned for later this summer?
No, I have not been to I have not been to a Cubs game this year. Maybe this summer. I didn't even go to a Cubs game last year, but I was down in Wrigleyville last summer. So
And
Maybe I'll
tell
leave
our
that
fans
there.
for that don't know, you're going out of town this weekend. I know we already did this once, but where the hell are you going this weekend?
I am, and I'm sick. I didn't get to say that on this one. I'm sick. I'm fighting a cold, but I think I'm going to beat it. I am going to Southern California with 5 of my girlfriends. We have a house that we rented in La Jolla. We are going to do all kinds of amazing things. We're doing a wine tour in Temecula. We are going out downtown San Diego on Saturday nights, Cinco de Mayo. We're doing a boozy brunch on Coronado Island on Sunday. So it's bound to be a fun time. So if Bihan doesn't block me from the Instagram page of Alternative Facts, I'll post some videos, but he might think it's wise to prohibit my access for a while.
No, make sure you do that. Put some IG stories up, videos. You want to see your trip. You're going with a bunch of ladies, so it's going to be like the girls' trip version or like a hangover, the women version. So I hope someone gets left out there. You lose your luggage. Someone doesn't make the flight home. We need some stories like that on your way back.
There will be stories. There are always stories.
Yeah, well, hey, have fun, get some rest. It's always good to, recharge the batteries, and we'll come back and destroy this for the rest of the summer. And I know most of this show has been quick hits, but let's walk through some of our quick hits that we had talked about, because I think some of these were pretty good.
Yeah, let's do some quick hits. This week, Bihan, NSYNC got their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. What is your boy band?
My favorite boy band. So it was funny, after the game this last Thursday when I was at the Cubs game, we were at this bar, and NSYNC song came on, It's Gonna Be Me, which is one of their best songs they ever did. And this girl singing like the whole dance routine from it, which is absolutely crazy. I remember the whole boy band and doing dance routines. So I do love NSYNC. They're the shit. I'm big fans of them, but I was more of a Backstreet Boys guy. I Want It That Way is still near and dear to my heart. I'm going Backstreet Boys. Who do you got?
Typical, you would. NSYNC. NSYNC. You can't beat them. You can't beat Justin Timberlake. I've been to my fair share of NSYNC and JT concerts that I am only slightly embarrassed about. So I am definitely an NSYNC girl by far.
Will LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers defeat the Toronto Raptors?
I think they will, but I think it could be ugly. So I don't think it's going to be an easy task for them, but I think in the end, Cleveland wins the series. What do you think?
I think so. I think that, Cleveland had the chance. Toronto had the chance to win the series. They blew it. They didn't win game 1 at home. LeBron James and Cleveland, they just do not fear. They're not intimidated by Toronto at all. They almost have never been, even to the point where their mascot Drake was even trying to fight Kendrick Perkins, because he even knows they just do not have a chance. So unfortunately, Toronto Raptors, I am sorry, Cleveland, they're going to beat you in 5 games, possibly even 4, because you're just no match for Cleveland.
Oh, man. So you will continue to live to die another day.
It's going to be
NBA
Cleveland and Golden State in the finals. Trust me on that.
That'll be exciting.
There we go.
Bihan, we found out this week that Sprint and T-Mobile plans to merge. Does this mean anything to you?
Absolutely not at all. I'm more of an AT&T guy. I've had them for a little bit, and before that, I had Verizon. So I had Sprint for a while. I hated it. And T-Mobile, I feel like they don't have coverage anywhere, so I never got it. So for those that use both, let me know your thoughts. But to me, I could care less about this merge.
Well, I can. I have had Sprint service for like 14 years, and I wish I had time in between us recording these episodes to go to my.
Right.
Have this new 5G network that's going to power your cars. It was very crazy, and he thought I was nuts. So I'm going to pull up that.
Yeah, power your cars. I don't get that part. Like, how?
I don't know. It's something our cars are going to drive on the 5G network. I'll post it on social media because it exists. I just who got that email. Like, holler at me. Let me know I'm not crazy. But I have Sprint. I don't care. As long as my plan doesn't change, I don't care what they call it.
I feel that. Post Malone, let's talk about him, man. Since you're claiming that's my new BFF out here.
That's your new BFF, man.
Yep. His album, Beer Bog and Bentleys, it's expected to sell close to 500,000 albums first week. Is he at Drake and J. Cole's level or what?
I think I think it depends what you consider their level. If you want to know the truth, I am a media, I don't care one way or another about Post Malone. I listened to the album. There was a couple songs on there that I will listen to again because they were catchy and I liked them, and that was fine. I'm not going to listen to it straight through, and I'm not going to listen to it to get any motivation or meaning out of it. But I think Post Malone knows his lane. I think he makes party music. I think he makes driving in your car with your windows down music. And I think he knows that that's what he's there for. And that's great. I think the fact that he's selling this many albums, yet no one will admit to liking him is really funny because somebody's listening to him, but nobody really wants to talk about it. They just want to talk about him needing a shower. And I think he does, but that's beside the point. Yeah. I mean, I think he'll be hot all summer. I think you'll hear some of the singles come out. As we talked about, he had a lot of features on there. I think his features were great. And I think those are the singles you're going to hear come. You hear a song with Ty Dolla Sign, or you hear with Nicki Minaj. And maybe if you're not a Post Malone fan, to turn it on and maybe listen because you're a fan of those guys. So I think he was really strategic in who he featured on his album, because I think it's other artists who will get someone's attention to maybe listen to a song they wouldn't otherwise listen to. What did you think?
I thought it was a really good album. It was not the best album he's had. Like mixtape Post Malone, I say is a lot better. But I think obviously we're a mainstream artist. Sometimes you got to make those type of mainstream albums, for your fans and things like that. So I thought it was a good album. For all those that hate and say Post Malone's not that great, I think you're lying to yourself. He's a great song maker. He's a great storyteller. He is a mind for making great beats. He had great features like Sway Lee. Even the Nicki Minaj one was cool. Obviously Ty Dolla Sign. I did like the feature with G-Eazy as well as YG. So I think the album got a little bit repetitive, but overall I think it was a good production. It was a good, well thought out, put together album. I'm just shocked that he could sell almost 500,000 copies in a week. That's like superstar number. That's like Drake, J. Cole level numbers. Makes me need to believe, like you said, there's a lot more Post Malone fans out there than they'll admit. And the reason why, and I have to bring out the elephant in the room, is because he's a white artist that makes like hip hop-ish, pop type music. So a lot of times people just never take hold of that. But obviously someone's out there listening, or his management team and label have figured out a cheat code, because man, they've been breaking like all type of Spotify records, and the Rockstar song is like 5 times platinum. So he's doing something right. Shouts out Post Malone.
Shouts out Post Malone. B-Hun, MTV has their 30% increase in TV ratings in the past year, with new shows like The Jersey Shore Family Reunion, The X on the Beach, all their challenges. Is MTV back?
MTV is definitely back, and what they're doing is they're not catering to the market of the 18 and 22-year-old social media lights. Why? Because those people don't really watch cable. They're on their phones. They're playing Fortnite. They're on computers and things like that. They really don't watch TV like that. So it seems like MTV has gone back to shows to cater to the upper 20s to mid 30s type market, bringing back, the Jersey Shore, like back from when we were in college. Obviously, you got the Challenge and other spinoffs from the Challenge. Like those type of shows are working. I think people really like it, and they've gone back to an adage of the older MTV. I don't watch the TRL. It's really not that good, but obviously they brought that back. It sounds like they're bringing back Yo MTV Raps from like the 90s and early 2000s, so that's coming back too. So it's good. TV is much better when MTV is relevant, so I'm glad that they're back and doing much better. And I love the Jersey Shore show. It's still a good show, and yes, I'm going to say I'm marking out, and I do watch it.
Yeah, I like it too. And I think that that's what you're exactly right. That what they've done is they've focused on people, 25 to 35 or whatever, who maybe remembered these shows when they were on, who always liked them, who are going to continue to watch them and continue to watch shows with people around their age in them. So here we are still watching Jersey Shore 10 years later, and it's great. So good for you, MTV. You figured something out. I know people say, oh, the M and MTV, there's no music, get rid of it. But they've been saying that for like 15 years. So whatever.
Absolutely. I'm cool with that. I rock with MTV, so I'm glad that they're doing better.
All right.
Las Vegas Knights, the NHL team, are in the second round of the NHL playoffs. How cool would it be if an expansion team from Vegas won the Stanley Cup?
I think it would be cool. As someone who is invested in any teams who are in the playoffs right now in the NHL, I definitely can pull for an expansion team because they're always the underdog for years. I like that Las Vegas is bringing sports to their city. I know the knock on it being the draw that so many people in Las Vegas transplants, that they already have teams that cheer for. So hometown fans are you going to end up with? And that was kind of the thing about bringing an NFL too. But I think that you have that. You have local people, and you have people who will go there to see their teams playing this local team. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for Las Vegas. We a lot of sports betting is what keeps a lot of leagues going. Oh, hey, shout out to Vegas, and I hope your teams win.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I think it's a great idea. And imagine if you're a hockey player living in Vegas. It's a good recruiting tool. Hey, our Vegas team is lit. You can come play with us in Vegas. Our team's done early June. We got millions of dollars. We can stay in Vegas all summer, go to pool parties, go to the clubs, not have to pay for a thing, get comp bottles. We live in Vegas with millions of dollars. It's actually kind of dangerous. I'm actually kind of concerned for them as well as the Oakland Raiders when they go to Vegas. All those football players with all that money, some of them are going to jail. But since the Detroit Red Wings aren't that good this year, there's no Chicago Blackhawks. I got to root for someone, so I'm rooting for the Vegas Knights to win the whole thing, win the Stanley Cup, and then we can go party in Vegas and celebrate with them.
Let's do it. It'll be a podcast trip.
Absolutely.
Bill Cosby was found guilty on 3 counts of indecent assault. Will he spend the rest of his life in prison?
It's been a rough week for the Black community, and we may have to have a moment of silence for the entire Black community. With this week with Bill Cosby going down, all the drama with R. Kelly, obviously everything going on with Kanye West. We even had Chance the Rapper had to jump into it to defend Kanye West. Bill Trump used it against him. And, of course, Chance the Rapper spent all weekend backtracking and having to defend himself. Chance should have stayed out of it, but he didn't. That's another story for another day. And then lastly, even Nas was in the media for potential domestic violence with, his ex-wife, Khalees. So it's been a rough week for the Black community. Bill Cosby, he did have coming what you knew this was going to happen. His lucks ran out. And what he should do, unfortunately, he should just die before going to prison because otherwise he's going to die in prison and no one wants to die in prison.
Yeah, no one wants to die in prison. Also, no one wants to be indecently assaulted. So, Bill Cosby, you got
he had it coming.
To you.
Do you think he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison or what?
I do. I think he's going to, if he doesn't die first, I think he's going to prison, and I think he will, as he should.
Let's get into a little quick version of our clown of the week. And I want to hear yours. So I know yours is a good one. People are going to be like, what the heck? But I think you should do it before I go into mine.
Okay, my clown of the week is Black. I do not believe it's been confirmed. I would hate to spread this. However, she is reportedly pregnant with her boyfriend, YBN J Almighty's baby, who is 18 years old. Blac Chyna is 2 years old. She's 2 babies already. It's Tyga, one with Rob Kardashian. Seems to have a volatile relationship with both of them as it is. And so I cannot imagine why I'm but a clown get pregnant now with a third man. And I use that term lightly because he is 18 years old. A third man. I don't know what you're thinking. By now, you have to know how this works. If you're pregnant, you're my clown of the week.
Yeah, she needs to stop. And I mean, for this guy, he's 18 years old. His friends probably think he's a man that, he's dating, a 29-year-old, and he's got to have a kid. I'm sure she's got more money than he does. So he's probably like, man, I got to come up from this right now. But it's crazy, though. Crazy, though.
Her money's not going to last.
No, I mean, yeah, who knows with that? But, I mean, she's tied with a lot of people like Tyga. Obviously, Rob Kardashian's got a lot of money in their family, too. So I think she'll be okay one way or another, even if he isn't.
She's a clown.
My clown of the week,
who you got?
And we were just talking about Jersey Shore Family Vacation, which I do love that show, and I rock with Ronnie a lot, but, and even in the past I did like him, but he's been a big part of the storyline even this season. Seems like he's just not doing okay. So for today, Ronnie, you get the clown of the week. So even on the show, on the episodes, he's still admitting that he's in love with Sammy. Yes, Sammy from about 10 years ago. And then obviously he's getting caught cheated on camera as well, too. And Ronnie just had a baby. So you can tell he's really going through a lot. She was just born early April. So he has his girlfriend, Jen, that he's been with. And he's been in some arguments with her recently, even saying he put out a thing, said, note to self, can't turn a natural born hoe into a housewife. If you find them in the gutter, then leave them in the gutter. He's probably right, but he probably still shouldn't have said that.
Mm-hmm.
Even to going on, he said, not all people can be saved, and when they are so far gone, all you can do is you did your best and keep it moving. Then they had an argument on Instagram Live because Ronnie found, I guess, sex tapes with Jen and her ex-boyfriend in her phone that were never deleted. They got into an argument over it, and then I guess some obviously a confrontation that happened. Some hands were put on each other one way or the other. Doesn't sound like he was arrested, but number one, Ronnie, why are you getting in physical arguments on Instagram Live? Because of course a lot of people are going to see it. And then 2, you should never put your hands on a woman. So sound like he's really going through some things. Even his wife put out a comment saying can't turn a cokehead into a father. Yeah, buddy. And it doesn't seem like a lot of his actions just seem like he may either be on drugs, living in Vegas. Something's just not right to where he may need some help before the wheels go off. And, buddy, you just had a new baby, so I think you need to step up and just be a good father and not worry about the rest. So for now, Ronnie, I'm sorry, you're my guy, but you do have to get the Clown of the Week.
I hope he gets it together.
I hope so, too. I definitely hope
that
so,
baby.
too.
Yeah, that was crazy. That video. Check out that video that she posted because it was crazy and it was wild and it looked like he was on something. That somebody who's just a little angry. To me, I mean, maybe it's him. I don't know. He looked like he was on something.
I agree. Sounds good. So thank you all for listening. I know this is a very shortened version of Alternative Fact Chicago, episode 43. And unfortunately, with technology, unfortunately, these things do just happen. But we had to come back on. Brittany's going on a well-needed rest and vacation. So we couldn't just not have anything for the people to listen to. But we got through it. And hopefully this episode and post, we won't have to be on for a third time.
Oh, no. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. So once again, just make sure you find us on social media, A Fact Chicago or Alternative Fact Chicago on Instagram, as well as Facebook. Our show is hosted on iTunes. Please subscribe and leave a review for us. We love all the reviews. We have been seeing them. So go on iTunes, leave a review, 5-star, 1-star, any type of feedback. We do love it. And just thank you all for really, truly making us the #1 podcast in Chicago. We do have a lot more coming when she's back from vacation. We got a lot of plans for the summer and for the future to take our show and just our brand itself to the next level. So it's really been great to be along for the ride. And I'm glad that you are on board, B.
I am glad to be on board too. And don't forget that you can hear us every Thursday night on Wild Dogs Radio at wilddogsradio.com. And you can also hear us on 247liveculture.com.
Yes, many, many ways to hear us on other platforms. Like I said, Wild Dogs Radio is Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, not Central, that Eastern Time. You can hear this same episode and every other episode in the past. So we got to get up out of here. We've done this twice, hopefully not for a third time. So if you don't hear from us again, that means the episode's stuck. But thanks, B, for your patience. I do love you for that. And we appreciate you being on the show. We appreciate you all listening. So once again, this is Alternative Fact Chicago, episode 43. This is B Hunt with B Chan, and
we're out of here.
All right. Peace.
Bye.